53-year-old Dylan Flanagan of Enosburg, Vermont was traveling southbound on Interstate 91 in Bradford Monday morning when she jumped out of her car. This highly invasive bug isn't just a threat to Vermont's ecosystem, it's also a threat to Vermont's natural beauty and its economy. 4 different fire departments responded: St. Johnsbury, Waterford, East Burke, and Concord. And this existing fence will be replaced in September or October with a 8-foot-high green PVC-coated chain link fence in order to keep out unwanted visitors. And now Eric Weglars joins us for a look at our forecast. Eric, what are we feeling out there? Low 40s, high 40s?
And Dan, actually a mix of both this afternoon.
And we got a chance to talk to an X Games medalist from St. Johnsbury. New 7 starts right now. Last Thursday, Lincoln Lemieux realized a childhood dream.
Growing up, I always wanted to make it to the X Games, but really I just want to do the best I can every race, and that was kind of my goal growing up.
That goal was met when the 24-year-old St. Johnsbury native took home the snowcross bronze medal at the 2017 X Games in Aspen.
When I won the medal, it was really exciting, but just competing against, a lot of great athletes was amazing.
Lemieux finished the 30-lap course in 9 minutes and 58 seconds, about 5 seconds behind first place. And while Lemieux is in St. Johnsbury right now, he is usually training in Aurora, Minnesota. Snowmobiling runs in the Lemieux family. Lincoln is not the only member of the family who's into snowcross.
Not very many kids had their dad, brother, and sister all riding. Parents would tell their kids what to do out on the track, but they didn't know what it was like, and our dad did.
My dad used to race motocross and snowcross, so he was probably the most excited out of everyone.
Our dad was awesome. They called him the Iron Man.
After placing 11th last year and 3rd this year, Lemieux doesn't plan on giving up anytime soon. After all, it's in the family name.
Our last name means the best, and we tried to live up to it.
Reporting for News 7, I'm Dan Fenton in St. Johnsbury. Vermont State Police and St. Johnsbury Fire and Rescue were called to the scene of an accident on Mount Pisgah Road off Memorial Drive on Route 5. A 2008 GMC truck was lying on its passenger side in a small brook. Nearby residents Susan Therian and Michael O'Brien were there to help him out of the truck. They say that the driver reeked of alcohol.
He asked us to call 911, and we did, and after a few minutes he's like going, "You called 911?" And we said, "Yes, we did," and he says, "Well, I have to go see my father," and he took off.
But he smelled really bad. I mean, he was really overpowering with alcohol. He was very agitated. He just kind of, bounced back and forth a little bit, and then he just took off. And I thought it was strange. He only had one shoe. The other one must be still in the truck.
The driver's father showed up at Ace's Towing in Lyndonville this morning to remove things, including the driver's other shoe from the truck. He reportedly said that he had notified the police as to the identity of the driver.
And everyone's heard of pick your own strawberries, but in West Burke, people have been picking something a little different. News 7's Dan Fenton and photographer Josh Pooler went down to the J&F farm stand to see exactly what people have been picking.
I think it's a good thing, for people to come out and do. That way people can appreciate where their food comes from. A lot of people today have kind of lost touch where their produce comes from, and it's just good to know that it's not all just bought in a store.
And some people have been coming to the Shawnee farm for over 30 years.
We got people coming that are, second generation. There was a lady here yesterday, 95 years old. She'd been coming for 35 years. She couldn't hardly walk. We had to get her down in the field, get the potatoes, bring her back up.
And it's that type of thing and more that keeps their farm going.
And then with time, those people are kind of going away, so we've expanded through, newspaper advertisement and social media. So we're starting to get a younger generation in here now, which is good because they're teaching their kids where their food comes from.
And it's not just where the food is coming from that makes the farm unique.
I think we're one of the few pick-your-own potato farms in the Northeast.
It was an idea that was grown, just like his potatoes.
I got the idea about 40 years ago up in Maine, where the big potato farmer was. He'd pick his potatoes, then he'd have a few acres left, and then he had, local people come in, and I said, well, that's a good idea. So we started doing it small, and it's worked out real well. It's worked out real well.
It's also going to work out real well for your wallet.
Our spuds are run probably 25 to 40% less than you do if you bought them at White's Market or Price Chopper or something like that. You know, and they're fresh.
A fresh outing for families to embark on.
I just like the exercise, picking them up, and then we distribute some to our family too, you know, the kids. Yeah, they're on their own and they got kids, so the grandchildren like that. Next year I want to get the grandchildren to come and help us. They'll like that.
And there's plenty of other things for people to like.
A lot of fresh air, a lot of good people, and we're going to dig again next weekend because we got so many potatoes.
Thanks to everyone here at J&F Farms, people like me are able to come pick the biggest spud that I can find. Dan Fenton, News 7, West Burke.
According to the Pentagon, over this weekend, the United States military detected a failed North Korean ballistic missile launch.
With international tensions escalating, we took a look back at history through the eyes of a Korean War veteran. News 7's Dan Fenton reports.
Retired Command Sergeant Major George Bates spent most of his military career with the Vermont Army National Guard, but began his years of service far away in East Asia during the Korean War.
I went in at 18 years old. I ended up in Korea at 19 years old, and I spent the whole year there. Are you afraid? Are you scared? You know, at the time, you do what you have to do. And I guess I was that type of guy that if it had to be done and I was one of them guys, I'm going to do it.
And what he did earned himself a Purple Heart.
As I ran back up, I dove into a bank that was cut out a little bit, and all the explosions and all the sand was coming over me. The lieutenant dove in there with me. And he says, let's get the hell out of here. Up we go, and I should have stayed there because that's when I got hit with shrapnel on the backside and on my wrist.
Not only was the shrapnel piercing, but so were the frozen winters.
I, born in Vermont, was very well aware of cold weather, and I grew up in it. And I did not have any frozen feet or hands, so. Whether you be a tanker, an infantryman, a combat engineer, whatever it was, they all done their job and done it greatly. That country is, South Korea is great today. We, I say we, not I, but my comrades and companies and the U.S. forces stopped communist aggression at that point in time. In 1953, they finally came to a conclusion to stop the fighting, but they only settled, they did not sign a peace treaty. They only signed an agreement to stop the fighting. So, in essence, we could still be at war with North Korea.
Dan Fenton, News 7, Rutland.